Hey guys, what's going on? In this video I want to do a player review on Jack Morris. I'll explain how to obtain him as well, but first let's break down his attributes. 90 overall. We look at his stamina, comes in at 97, 73 hits per 9, 52 K per 9, 67 walks per 9. Let's actually go to edit player and look at some of his individual pitches as well. We see his four seam velocity comes in at 93 miles an hour, pretty good control on that. Splitter, actually one of the best splitters in the game, and one of the reasons is one of my favorite pitchers to use on the game is because of that splitter. Has good control, more so than even the four seam, and it comes in at 88. He also has a pretty decent slider of 73 break, comes in at 86. He does have a two seamer as well with pretty good break, and he also has a changeup with 64 break, 54 control. Now the thing I like about this pitcher, or Jack Morris, is his splitter's 88 and his changeup's 81. So those are two different pitches, even though they have pretty similar, downward movement, similar break. I like the splitter has, in my opinion, more late break, and it breaks a lot more, and plus it's a lot harder. The changeup's a little bit slower, so you can definitely mix those two in, and plus he still has that two seam that can break away. That slider, or that two seam that could break away from lefties. That slider could break, into lefties or away from righties, and of course his four seamer is. His average is 93 miles an hour. The only downside, looking at his attributes, is his K per 9. But I just really impressed by this guy's splitter. So he does come in at 90 overall, and I'll show you guys how to obtain him and my stats thus far with him. It's one pitcher I really need to give a try, or I need to use more often. For some reason, I don't know, that his K per 9 just kind of scares me, but Saberhagen I do just fine with the lower K per 9. Because his hits per 9 kind of makes up for it, plus his break and velocity and all that. Anyways, how to obtain Jack Morris. So we go to Conquer and Command here. So you have to conquer the Detroit Tigers. Once you do that, you should get the Embody the Tigers, if we can find that somewhere. It should be around here somewhere. Basically though, you're gonna, oh, here it is. Command the Conquerors, we conquer them, and then we command them, and we get that, you get that Flashback Peralta, and then you feed players, feed Tigers to your Dynasty player to get this Jack Morris card. So you get two solid players in my opinion. I don't really see anybody using that Peralta card, and it's pretty solid as well. But that's how you obtain it. You have to play Conquest, and I'll show you guys some of my stats with Jack Morris thus far. If I can use this tab here, it's always a pain trying to use this thing. Alright, so I know I have it somewhere. Let's try to sort by wins. We got Chris Archer, Gaylord Perry. Now I know I have more wins than that with, oh, here he is. So I do have 3 wins with him. Trying to see how many innings I've actually pitched with him. Okay, I pitched 20 innings with him, so a decent sample size, 15 strikeouts. Held my opponents to a 213 average. Actually held lefties to 200 and righties 240 and a 2.25 ERA. So yeah, I think this pitcher can be equally good against lefties or righties because of his splitter and changeup and two seamer. And then of course righties, he still has that slider. So next I'm going to go into practice and show you guys a few pointers and more, show you how to use them. So just stand by for that. Alright guys, so here we are in practice, and let's show you guys a few tricks you can use with Jack Morris, how to pitch with him. And I do want to show you what each of his pitches look like just by starting out. Just starting with a four seamer, it pretty much just goes straight, obviously. I mean a little movement, but not too much. Next we're going to show you guys the two-seamer. That's the movement on the two-seamer, so you see if I start in the middle, it goes here. So it goes from about right here to down in there. Pretty good movement. Of course this pitch, against lefties, keep down and away. And of course, like I told you with Saberhagen, try mixing it like middle away or high and away as well. Definitely a good pitch to get rollovers, but not a pitch I would rely on just low in the zone exclusively. Next we're going to show you the splitter. Alright, it may not look like a ton of movement, but that's actually pretty good movement for a splitter. So this is starting down the middle and then it drops here. The fact that the splitter is 88 miles an hour, I would consider it, more of a a harder pitch, not so much an off-speed pitch. Has, sharp movement, late sharp movement. So if it's a pitch you can just keep down, I'm telling you, if you can keep it below the strike zone, even aim it a little bit lower, because you want to make sure you miss down rather than up. If you do hang it, it can get hit. That being said, it's still hard to square up, because even if they see it coming in about right here, it's still going to drop right here, and most of the time they're going to be over the top of it. You're going to have to get people to start looking exclusively for that splitter. Now let's show you the changeup and show you the differences between the changeup and the splitter. See, you can see it a little bit, different in the break. The changeup kind of, it doesn't have as much late movement. It kind of just, you can kind of read it a little bit sooner, and it just kind of breaks the entire time, I guess is a good word for it. While as a splitter, it will go straight and just kind of dive down at the last second. Changeup's got a little bit more loopiness to it. Almost looks more like a small curveball, in fact. And it is thrown a little bit slower. But you can see here the changeup also has a little bit of down and away movement as well. So if we start it here, it actually tilts not only just straight down, but it goes down and into a lefty or down and away from a righty. So it almost looks like a little cutter or slider too. So interesting pitch by Jack Morris. And finally, we'll show you guys what his slider looks like. He has a pretty similar slider to Saberhagen in my opinion. It's more of a straight across slider. Doesn't have too much tilt. Kind of looks more like a cutter in a way. Definitely an effective pitch, against righties down and away or whatever. And also can be used against lefties up and in. So let's start talking about some strategy you can use with Jack Morris. Obviously, this is one pitcher where you can't pitch high in the zone. And like I said with Saberhagen, you want to know your opponents and how to pitch them. But this is one guy I really feel like that can be utilized. His pitches can be utilized best by keeping down in the zone, and they all can work off one another. You can start your fastball off low in the zone, see if your opponent can hit it, and then work off that. Definitely utilize that splitter a lot. I mean, that's my favorite pitch with him. You should almost be throwing 30 to 40% splitters. And then when you notice your opponent's starting to set on splitter, that's when you can mix in the changeup, and they're going to be way ahead of it because it's a 6 mile an hour difference. Basically, he has a fastball at 93, 94, a splitter, 87, 88, then he has a changeup that can go 79, 80. So let's show you guys the changeup right here. That changeup was 81 miles an hour. And then once you get your opponent to start, you start spamming changeup, splitter to low. We'll show another splitter here. We'll start spamming those low. They're going to start to look for it, and that's when you can sneak in that low fastball for a called third strike. Computer made decent contact there, but that is a pitch you can sneak in there. I wouldn't recommend always pitching like that. And this is a kind of a pitcher you want to use to pitch to contact as well. Of course, you can still use that slider in on a lefty. What you want to do is you want to start it from this arm slot where it'll break down and into them. Really good pitch. And then from that same arm slot where we have that slider go down and in, this is gonna look like a 4-seamer, and then we're throwing a 2-seamer here. It's gonna look like it's going straight down, but what this 2-seamer is gonna do is it's gonna break down away at the last second. Get some easy rollovers on that. Good movement on his 2-seamer, like I showed you guys earlier on the break of his pitches. All of them had really good break except the changeup. But the good thing about the changeup is it kind of makes your opponent respect the splitter. They're gonna have to see the ball a little bit deeper, and the splitter, it's an interesting pitch. Like, it can be used to not only get people to roll over, but if you throw a lot of changeups and come back with that splitter and they start looking changeup, it's a pitch that you can also use to jam your opponent. So yeah, just work the ball down, keep it down. With that being said, I think we all know in this game people can have good success hitting the ball down. So this is where you might want to mix up some pitches that are higher in the zone, especially against better players. And like I said with Saberhagen, one of my favorite pitches, especially against lefties, is that 4-seamer up and away or middle away, kind of in this area. You get a lot of weak flyouts with it. And then like I said, just work off from that same arm slot. You can do the 2-seamer about right here. Alright, really good movement on that pitch. And then of course, when you set them up with those pitches and you get them looking, you can get some easy flyouts on that. But once they start swinging on that, you can come in with a slider about the same arm slot and on their hands. And that's a really good pitch. And of course against righties, I think you want to mainly use your slider to get them out. But of course, still use your splitter and changeup as well. And then of course your two-seamer. You got to be really careful with this two-seamer. It's not very fast like Saberhagen's. It's a little bit slower. So if you want to pitch middle in, go for it, but just make sure you do get that pitch in all the way. The main difference between like Saberhagen and Jack Morris's two-seamer, of course, is the velocity. I feel like Saberhagen's two-seamer is more used to jam hitters, whereas Jack Morris's two-seamer is kind of more used as a sinker to get ground balls. So also another good pitch you might want to try against righties is that down and in two-seamer. Get them to roll over. And then you also try that down and in splitter. Just mix up as many pitches as possible. Read your opponent, seeing what they're looking for, and just set them up with the same, different pitches from the same arm slot. And of course, the slider is going to be the go-to pitch against righties. And once we get them chasing that, something you can do, of course, is you can try that. Of course, to a lefty, it's going to be front door, but to a righty, you get to try that back door four-seamer or two-seamer to get them looking. Similar to that. So all of his pitches have really good movement, guys. I definitely recommend Jack Morris, give him a try. I know there's a lot of legend pitchers that aren't being utilized in this game, but some of them are really unique, have unique deliveries. Like Jack Morris, he has a really unique delivery. The few times I faced him offline, I had trouble picking up his pitches. His splitter was really good, and I think the splitter might be a really underrated pitch in this year's game. So definitely give Jack Morris a try if you're trying to find a pitcher, trying to find a nice budget pitcher. He doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is play some conquest games, grind some innings, grind some tigers. So, you know, go for Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, whatever, JD Martinez. Get those players on your team, grind some innings, and definitely give this pitcher a try. Anyways, guys, if you guys have any more questions about Jack Morris, or if you guys want to see any other players reviewed, make sure to let me know. This is Cardinal Bird 5 signing out. Peace.